Would you believe me if I told you that your client already decided your price was expensive before you even say the number out loud? And until you understand why, every sales conversation is going to feel like a negotiation that you've already lost. So if you've ever quoted a price and immediately feel the energy in the room shift, that silence, that hesitation, and that let me get to think about it, then this is the video for you. Because most founders get to think that that reaction from the client is all about the number they have mentioned. But oh my, how are they wrong? That number just confirmed something that the client already felt. And in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down what exactly creates that feeling before the price is already mentioned and what exactly can you get to do about it. Now let's start with a problem that most founders don't even get to realize. By the time you get to mention your price, the client has already formed an opinion about what you want. And mind you, this is not based on the number you just mentioned, but it is based entirely on everything that just happened before you even get to mention your price. From the way you showed up to the call, to the way you described what it is that you do, to the confidence or the lack of confidence you showed in talking about how you get to do your work, to the proposals that your client read before they even get to the meeting, and in other cases, even the content they consumed before they booked that call. So combining all those together, it gives the pricing information that the client uses. And just for a fun fact, the client is not waiting for your price to decide how they feel about it, but they are building a picture of value from the first moment they get to interact with you. Now with that said, there are 3 signals that precede every price that every founder dealing in business needs to know. And that every one of them either gets to build a case for your number or it destroys it. So let's start off with the first one. How do you describe what you do? Most founders get to describe their works in terms of sessions, they describe their works in terms of hours worked, they describe their works in terms of deliverables, and in most cases, they get to describe their work in terms of reports. But here's one thing that they don't get to realize. Effort language teaches a client to measure what is it that they are getting relative to the price that they're paying. And the moment a client starts measuring, just know they are calculating. And once they start calculating, that's a straight signal that your price is now going to become negotiable. So what do you do instead? The quick answer is opt for outcome language. This teaches a client to measure what changes instead of what is delivered, because change is much harder to put a pricing ceiling on. And yes, I understand that shift might be too small, but it is so critical. Let me try and give you an example. If I came to you and said, I'll do 6 sessions with you, there I'm signaling effort. But if I approached you and I said, I help founders restructure their pricing so that they get to earn more from fewer clients, there I'm signaling output. It might be the same work, but completely different perceived value. And that is what you should be aiming out for. Signal 2, how you carry yourself before the price. Confidence is not arrogancy, it is absence of apology. So when founders are unsure of their price, they always telegraph it before they even get to say it. And that comes in various ways, among which is they hesitate, they hedge, and sometimes they get to over-explain. So you find them using phrases like, it depends, I'm flexible. And in other cases, you find them using words like, we can get to work something out. But what is it that they don't realize is that each one of those phrases always tells a client that this person is unsure of their price. Put differently, the founder does not believe in the price they're stating. And just to give you a fun fact, if a founder doesn't get to believe in their price, even the client they are trying to convince will never do that. And that right there is what I call the identity lag. It is not a mindset problem that you get to think yourself out of, but it is entirely a clarity problem. And as for the founders who hesitate before their price, they don't hesitate because they lack the courage. They hesitate because they haven't created the connection between what is it that they charge and what it is that they create. Meaning that if you're always hesitating, you're always hedging, get to build that connection first. Until after you get to do that, confidence will automatically come itself. Signal 3, the visual presentation of your work. Now this one is so underestimated, but a badly formatted proposal, that one clustered website, or even that one low effort email, all those are pricing signals. And some of you might be asking, Alan, what are they even for? Well, it's not because clients are going to be judging your design skills, because the care you put in how you present yourself is a proxy of the care that you bring to their work. So here's how that looks like in practice. So here we're going to look at 2 founders, same service, same price. Founder 1 sends a proposal that opens, attached please, find the proposal for the project we discussed. And then founder 2 opens with, this model outlines how we restructure your pricing model to increase your revenue per client by at least 30% in the next 90 days. Same document, same price at the bottom. Now I want you to notice the difference. The client who reads Founders Tools Opening has already started building a different picture of what that number is attached to. So the whole point is, premium clients hire premium filling providers. And if your presentation looks like you're charging 300, then the client will feel resistance at 3,000. And this is regardless if the work is worth tens of thousands. So before you get to run into your next sales conversation, I want you to run these 3 questions. This is what I call the pre-price audit. So let's start off with question 1. What does a client hear when I describe my work? Now, for you to get a clear picture of how this gets to work, I want you to write down exactly how you get to explain what it is that you do before the client in your sales conversation. And then after you get to do that, I want you to read it all back. Okay. The reason I'm asking you to read that back is the funny part that comes next. That is, count down every effort language that you put in your explanation. That is, from the sessions, what's like meetings, what's like deliverables, what's like reports. Note all that down. Now, here comes the fun part. Get to rewrite all those sentences where you used your effort languages to reflect the outcome instead. Because the moment you get to shift from here's what you get to here's what changes for you, the price you're about to name will always get to feel justified before you even say it out loud. So question 2, what energy am I bringing into the conversation? Before your next call, I want you to ask yourself this specific question. Do I fully believe the price is worth it? Because if the answer is no, or even a little hesitation, trust me, that client will always feel it. And when they feel it, that's a different story. And the reason I'm saying it's going to be a different story is because you can't fake certainty in sales conversations. Buyers are too perceptive. The whole point is, your work isn't to sound so confident, but it is to build the belief that makes confidence automatic. So here's a task for you in regards to this question. Go back to your last 5 clients. Write down exactly what changed for them. That could be in terms of revenue, it could be in time saved, it could be even in clarity that they received. Write all that down. And what would even be the best part is if you attached a certain number at the end of what changed. Yeah. So if it is revenue, maybe note down from 300 to 3,000. That would make a lot more sense. Now here's a crazy part that is even fun. Say out that number out loud, whether it is an empty room or where you feel safe. So now my question, does it still feel like it's too much given what you just wrote down? In most cases, it won't, because most founders have simply never connected the dots between the two. Now here comes the last question. Does my presentation match my price? Look at that proposal you sent, that last email that you wrote to your prospect, or even your website, and honestly ask yourself, does this look like someone who charges what I charge? And mind you, just a reminder, the goal isn't to look expensive, but it is to look deliberate, because deliberate is what premium feels like before the price is ever said. Here's what it comes down to. Your price doesn't arrive in isolation. It arrives in the context that you built or you fail to build before you even say that number. And here's what you have to get right about the context. 1, when the context is weak, even a fair price will feel expensive. 2, when a context is strong, even a premium price will always feel like it's unobvious, because the number is not the problem, but the signals that precede are the problems. So get to fix the signals, and every pricing conversation is going to change from this point onwards. And after that, the next step is knowing exactly where your signals are breaking down. And that is exactly where the founder underpricing scorecard comes into play. It gets to show you specific gaps between the value you create and what your signals are actually communicating before you even say that number out. All it takes is just 5 minutes, and I'll be leaving the link to it in the description. So go check it out.